Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Tales from Under the Sea. Ursula's Revenge. Under the sea, there were ripples of excitement as the kingdom prepared to celebrate its biggest holiday. It was the anniversary of the day that King Triton had freed the kingdom from Ursula the Sea Witch. Everyone eagerly awaited the festivities that would mark the most special of days. Everyone, that is, except Ursula and her slimy eels, Flotsam and Jetsam. Flotsam and Jetsam leaned over the crystal ball. Yes, they both said together. I'll win back the kingdom someday, and when I do, we'll just see how happy they'll all be by then, Ursula vowed. But in the meantime, I've got to find a way to really make this day a day to remember. Ursula looked in the crystal ball. She saw extra guards posted around the kingdom. They must be waiting for me to try something, said Ursula. Disappoint them, I won't. Quickly, she flipped through her book of spells. She stopped and read one page carefully. That's it, she shrieked. Why send one Ursula to ruin things if you can send 100? Ursula, old girl, you still got it. Ursula rubbed her hands together gleefully and quickly began to mix a magic potion. Barnacle flakes, one squid tentacle, jellyfish venom, Ursula muttered as she dropped them into the pot. One shark tooth, and this has to be dry, a dash of barracuda juice. Smoky clouds began to billow from the pot. Black bubbles rose and burst. Ursula chuckled. She dipped her ladle into the pot and gulped down the mixture. When she began to chuckle again, black bubbles rose out of her mouth. Each one was a tiny Ursula. 100 little black bubbles in all came out of Ursula's mouth. 100 little Ursulas floated above the high seafloor. The bubbles rolled out of the cave, off toward the kingdom. Hurry, my darlings, Ursula cried. Your bubbles will be open for only a few minutes, so you must be already in the kingdom. Ready to pinch, pilfer, and do whatever you can to ruin this sappy celebration. I know you can do it. Make me proud. Ursula waved to the bubbles as they danced off, rising together and higher in the water. 100 bubbles floated right past the palace guards, high above their heads. The guards were peering anxiously in the distance, on the lookout for one big Ursula. They never thought to turn their eyes upward. Ursula's spell seemed to be working perfectly. The bubbles burst inside the kingdom as she planned. 100 tiny Ursulas giggled wickedly and set out to make as much mischief as they could in a hurry. But just as they spread out to rip down decorations, overturn tables of food, pull mer people's hair, and do many other equally nasty things, the annual beauty contest was announced. Each little Ursula immediately decided to enter the pageant. Back in her cage, Ursula watched her crystal ball as her 100 little selves abandoned her plan. No, you vain little fools, she cried as she pulled her hair. Ursula leaned closer as a trumpet signaled the beginning of the event. One of King Triton's heralds swished forward, cleared his throat, and announced, Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present the most beautiful and talented creatures on the sea. One by one, the loveliest creatures in the kingdom came down the swimway. Each of King Triton's daughters performed well and never looked more beautiful. The judges exchanged glances. It would be difficult to pick just one winner. Then all of a sudden, 100 little Ursulas, each one jealous of the 99 others, came down the swim day, kicking and screaming at each other. They pulled each other's hair, they kicked sand, they called each other terrible names. All the mermaids and mermen crowded around as the fight raged on. No one knew what to do. Then a strange little thing began to happen. Shiny black bubbles formed around each of the Ursulas. They floated up the castle higher and higher. All the mer people heard 100 angry shrieks. Then the miniature witches floated away. Ursula stopped looking in the crystal ball. She sat back and groaned. Then 100 black bubbles bobbed back into her cave. Ursula waited for them to vanish. But when the bubbles popped up again, the little Ursulas inside did not disappear. Instead, they kept on climbing. I must have used too much barracuda juice, screamed the original Ursula. What a day to remember this to be after all. She shrieked and ran off to find her book of antidotes. the poem Ursula's Fury. That little brat, that awful child, I heard her voice and just go wild. To think that she's so young and rich. Well, look at me, an old sea witch. The way I'm treated is a sin, but I'll fix her, I'll do her in. Oh, I love it, I can't wait to make the poison of my hate. And that's the end of that story. See you later.